Hello guys, I'm Mert from PrimeDAO. I will be presenting one of the PrimeDAO's product line that will be deployed this year, called Proposal Inverter. In the talk, I will talk about what the Proposal Inverter is and what problem does Proposal Inverter solve, and also I will talk about how we are developing Proposal Inverter as a tool, like how we approach developing this tool. So we can go to the next slide. So what Proposal Inverter is that? It's a funding primitive to reduce administrative work while DAOs are collaborating through their work. So the Proposal Inverter inverts the DAO proposal relationship such that instead of having many proposals for the single DAO, we will have many DAOs for a single proposal. This enables the collaborative funding of proposals that benefits multiple DAOs throughout the ecosystem. So what this means is that instead of, while you are requiring funding, instead of going each DAOs by individually, you can create a funnel that many DAOs can collaborate on your single proposal. So this can increase the collaborative schema around DAO ecosystem. Can we pass the next one? So what's the problem actually? So this is from one of the initial research between PrimeDAO and BlockScience. So the proposals can be administratively costly due to multiple networks, many tokens, protocols, and different schedule times between DAOs, like some are paying different times, etc., etc. And this is getting more problematic when the number of DAOs are increasing and when the number of workers are increasing. So in this chart, in this image, you can see how the regular proposal process works. So in the regular process, you should write a proposal, you should apply for a subcontractor, then you should track your time, you do the work, the subcontractor will review work, and you should justify it, and you should start again this process once again when you are applying for a different proposal. As you can see, this is administratively very costly. Actually, in one of our workshops, Jeff Emmett from BlockScience saying that this idea of Proposal Inverter emerged. While they are doing their research, he said, we are almost spending half of our times to administrative work, writing many proposals, discussing and bargaining about payrolls, etc., etc. So what Proposal Inverter will do is that by inverting proposal into a one proposal that will having a funding funnel, the process will look like you will write a proposal, you will do the work, and many DAOs will join as a funder and a contributor in the process. Then you will justify the work to get funded, to get paid, let's say. So can we go to the next one? So I want to go into a little bit deeper how Proposal Inverter addressed those problems of administrative issues. So one of the most biggest problem in the administrative work of proposal applying is you should apply for many proposals. For example, like if you say, let's say if you are doing a reward system research that will be benefiting many DAOs that will be interested to fund you, you should go forums of them, you should connect with somebody there, you should go Discord, and you'll write a different proposal justifying your work, how this proposal will benefit this DAO, etc. So you have to write, let's say, 5, 10 proposals sometimes. So it's very like burden for people to work on it. So what Proposal Inverter is doing is that instead of writing proposal 1, 2, 3, you will write a one proposal that DAO 1, DAO 2, and DAO 3 will collaborate on the same proposal. And can we go to the other one? And the other problem is that the administrative burden by coordinating parties. So if you are applying for multiple DAOs, there's problem of who will pay the DAO and what will be the rate for different DAOs. But what Proposal Inverter is doing that, creating pre-negotiated contract for the funding funnel so that it affords ongoing cross-DAO initiatives which require semi-automated payment flows and pre-negotiated contract, and allows a trusted group of contractors to be funded by multiple DAOs for continuous work, with funds allocated per context appropriately policy. So in the proposal inverter, one will create a proposal and one will decide parameters that this proposal will work. So if you are a funder, you will just apply, you will just consider to be fund that proposal based on the parameters that are already negotiated. So you don't have to get this administrative work. Can we go to the next slide? Actually, this chart explains it very well. So let's say Prime DAO and Token Engineering Commons and Moloch DAO wanted to do a work together that will benefit each DAO. So they can funnel their funds in this pool, and through the semi-automated contracts that will be pre-negotiated, this pool of funds will allocate it to contributors, such as, like in this example, Jeff, Livia, and Pat. They will get funded through pre-negotiated time periods. So you don't have to apply for each cycle, etc. You will deploy proposal inverter, and the proposal inverter will funnel your fund according to your pre-negotiated discussion. Can we go to the next slide? So how does the mechanism work? Maybe this will arise in your mind. So there are three types of agents that participate in proposal inverter process. One is the owner of the proposal, second is payer, and the other is contributor. Can we go to the next one? So what owner represents is that it's the main funder of main proprietor of the proposal. So the owner will be responsible for setting the parameters for proposal inverter to deploy. So in order for proposal inverter to start, your funding funnel to start, you should reach some requirements that will be predefined by the owner of the proposal. So these are including voting mechanism for contributor whitelisting, like how you will accept contributors to your proposal. This can be weighted voting based on the funding partners. This can be unanimous voting that requires all parties to agree on a contributor. Let's say if it is a unanimous vote, and if I apply for proposal inverter proposal to work, each party, in our case, Moloch, Token Engineering Commons, and Prime, should accept me as a proposal worker in order me to get funded. But if it is like owner vote, this is another parameter that we are using. If it is an owner vote proposal, if the owner approves me, regardless of others' opinion, I will be part of the proposal worker. And the other parameters are minimum and maximum number of contributors that will be working in the proposal, payment time, epoch length. So what will be the payment time for a certain amount of time, allocation per epoch, the overall funds allocated to contributors per payment time in USD dollars. Oh, so I forget minimum, and minimum contribution. So as I said, DAOs can join proposals to co-fund. So owner will decide what will be the minimum amount of contribution in order you to join a proposal. If it's like 10K, if you pay 9K, you cannot be part of the proposal. And minimum number of payers. So for example, if you have 2 payers, but you want at least 4 payers to be fund your proposal, you can choose your parameter as 4 payers. So in order for proposal inverter to deploy, you need 4 payers, two more payers to join your proposal. And can we pass? Thank you. So the payer basically represents anyone provides funding. So owner is also can be payer as well. So in this chart, Prime DAO, Token Engineering Commons, and Moloch DAO is payers as well. Can we pass? Yeah, next one, please. Oh, so there's a problem. I think contributor. Okay, perfect. So contributor is the ones that are working in the proposal, basically. So they will be the ones that are doing the work, basically. Can we pass this one as well? So basically, this will be the main architecture of proposal inverter, such that you will merge proposals in order to be collaborated on. So, and I want to talk a little bit about how we are developing proposal inverter. So what we are calling this model is very famously used in software engineering, dog fooding the proposal inverter, such that we believe our product is so resilient that we will use proposal inverters development by the proposal inverter. So we are using the same mechanism. Of course, it's not on-chain now, but we are using the same mantra, same theoretical way for the development of proposal inverter. So in the proposal inverter, we have two main owners, PrimeDAO and Longtail Finance team. So these are the main stakeholders of the project, doing main funding and working on the project. And we will have three contributors. As I said, we are dog fooding. So PrimeDAO and Longtail Finance is both owners of the proposal, but as well is contributors. So I'm from PrimeDAO. I'm one of the contributors of the proposal inverter as well. And Token Engineering Commons is one of the other contributors of our project. They are mostly doing ecosystem work, system design feedback, and UX feedback, documentation, etc. And PrimeDAO is doing mostly smart contract development, BizDev, and Longtail Finance is our token engineers doing mechanism design and simulation models. And our pairs. So we have solved agreement with Radical Drips to be our pair, and the other pair that we have agreed on is Gitcoin, and PrimeDAO and Token Engineering Commons is also one of the pairs of the proposal inverter. So what this dog fooding model actually allows us that we can see how those theoretical thinkings of us sometimes cannot match with reality. For example, on the development, we see, for example, for the tokens, like how we can allocate tokens that are different. So should we choose one token that should be part of the proposal inverter? Should we choose a different mechanism for different tokens? So at the end, like we choose different tokens to be funded, to be able to fund proposal inverter that is pegged to US dollar. But what I mean is that we can see what will be the theoretical mispoints within our thinking initially. So it's like continuous feedback and peer reviewing mechanism going on, since we are building a product through the idea of the product. And we can pass it on. So this is the roadmap of proposal inverter. Actually, we've just finished the minimum viable product. So we know our parameters, how do we define parameters, how each agent of the proposal inverter will get interacted with the product. And we have started developing UI UX of the proposal inverter. And next month, we will have a feature freeze of proposal inverter and start developing engineering side, but like smart contract side. And we will continue to do industry outreach. And 2 months later, so this is for this cycle, we will continue to develop smart contracts, and we will prepare handbooks and guidelines together with Token Engineering Commons, which will be doing ecosystem work for proposal inverter mostly. And we will continue to do industry outreach, and hopefully we will launch a proposal inverter in late Q4 of this year. So, yeah, I've talked a lot about how we are merging proposal, how this will reduce administrative work, and why this product will help people to But I want to talk a little bit about why these kind of products that are helping people to collaborate will be important in DAO ecosystem. So what I called and what PrimeDAO called is that we want to create networked islands. So we are talking about DAOs as the futures of organizational design. And we have been talking elsewhere how they are less hierarchical and how they are more efficient through collaboration, etc. But I think in the space there is very little discussion on, especially like maybe 1 year, 2 years ago, very little discussion of how those DAOs can collaborate in a sense that it can be better than our legacy institutions such as business-to-business collaboration. So while we are thinking on DAOs, maybe sometimes we are leaning on thinking that them as like companies. But what I thought is that they are more actually an ecosystem, like more like islands that are having each has ecosystem. So for example, compared to business approach, business has like one framed legal approach, one framed legal framework that is decided by a state, but DAOs each has different economic base, different economic theory, each has different token that has different qualities, features, and shortages. So through this, the Prime DAO, through tools like Proposal Inverter, wanted to create a DAO ecosystem that is collaborating not inside of it only, but collaborating through an ecosystem that can help us to create not like business to business only competition, but we wanted to create some public good collaboration, not just inside DAOs, but DAO-wide ecosystem. So we can pass. Oh, so I just try to be kind of fast, sorry, so to have some questions. So, but if you wanted to join Prime DAO, you can join our Discord or Twitter. It will be very good. And Proposal Inverter work sessions will be on Wednesdays. If you wanted to join, it's pretty open source. You can join and participate in development. And thank you so much.
Do you have any questions?
There it is. Okay, perfect. Like in the initial idea, like there's no such intention that like creating all like layer 0 DAO, but why not? Like if it is getting bigger ecosystem, yeah, this may be interesting idea to explore. But initial idea is more about how do we help DAOs to collaborate together. But why not? Like I can say, if the things are going this way, it could be. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mertz.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.